guest appearances. Kitties. Aww. I just had a couple of minutes today, so I just wanted to come on and play some tunes, and I'm going to get a little bit closer so you can hear them really well. And the kitties wanted to be on today, so they're here with us. So just some tunes for anybody, nothing specific today other than still, again, thank you and well done and great job to my athletes in Beachbody and the 3-week yoga retreat. You guys are doing so well with everything, with the communication, with the adherence to the program, with your nutrition, with your checking in with me with your questions. You guys are doing amazing. My coach is here. Hi, Bree. I'm going to play a little ditty for my coach, my upline coach in Beachbody, who I was just talking about this morning about how what a blessing you are in my life, Bree. So you kind of just gave my video direction right now. This is for you, Tony, and AJ. This is from my coach Bree's family. You guys are so wonderful. So I want to tell you I love you back, and I want to tell you how I had a revelation that involved you. It was all about you today, Bree. So, and I think that everybody else can benefit from this as well. So I'm going to tell this story. So this morning I was training one of my one-on-one clients, and she and I were getting to talking about how she's having some issues with her tummy. And I am no stranger to these problems. I was plagued literally for years with issues with my stomach, and I was in and out of doctor's offices, and I had a lot of work that I had to miss, and a lot of soccer games and dates, and I had bad stomach issues, and it was diagnosed as, you know, when I was a child, like fiber deficiency, and then when I was like in my 20s, I went to the ER because I thought I was having appendicitis, and so I was diagnosed with IBS back then, which is, you know, basically a diagnosis of exclusion. So basically they were like, I don't know, you have like bad tummy issues, and I was like, yeah, duh. So I suffered, you guys, and I was talking to my client about this, and I was telling her, and I was like, because she was just telling me about how much pain she's in, I'm like, I know, I remember when I was in college taking anatomy practicals and being like over a cadaver and supposed to be, you know, identifying a landmark that's got this tiny pin on it, and all I can think of is, I have the worst pain in my stomach right now, I think I'm gonna die, and I'm sweating bullets because of it, and, you know, nobody else in this class is having to deal with this isn't accounted into the curve of my grade, you know what I mean, that I'm miserable and dying right now. So it plagued me for a while longer, and my diet was not great, to say the least, and I drank alcohol on the weekends at least quite a bit, and so I had a puffy inflammatory diet for one, and so I was working with Bree. She and I worked together at a spinal cord injury recovery center down in San Diego for several years, a decade essentially. And Bree, you're just an angel in my life, because it was Bree who came to me one day and she was like, you know what, your symptoms sound like Crohn's disease. Saltines. She wrote saltines because I used to just eat saltines for lunch when we worked at Project Walk. Or like, yeah, like, so I remember like my lunches were just ridiculous, you guys. Like, I was just like, whatever. I would bring in like a can of mandarin oranges and some cottage cheese, and like that was lunch. I mean, it could have been worse, but I wasn't listening to my body. And I am not alone. You know, we're kind of trained not to, unfortunately, in our society. But anyway, so back to my story, Bree was the one who said, sounds like maybe you might have Crohn's. And she said, well, you could either try cutting out gluten for a week and see if your symptoms are gone, or go get a colonoscopy. And I was like, I'll cut out gluten for a week. And so I did, and my symptoms went away. And that was the best thing that I could have hoped for. I'm cutting off the top of my bun in this video. I had this tilted back. I think I just effed myself though by trying to fix this angle. Nobody's home, so I'm like doing my own little camera angles. I might just have to selfie this for the rest of the story, because it's a really important story that I want to get told. Okay, so anyway, or I'll just move back into the frame. So the pain was gone. I deducted that I'm gluten intolerant, and I lost 30 pounds and like kind of just like went from there. So Bree, you were the one who really sort of made me think that maybe this might be Crohn's or celiac disease, and you know, lo and behold, it was. And it helped me just kind of like zero in on my nutrition. And of course now I'm vegan and gluten-free, which I know sounds like it would be like miserable or really difficult to do, but I don't find it that way. I eat all day. Like, I just got done drinking a couple of smoothies that had a bunch of green and red and yellow and white stuff in it from the earth, and it was really delicious. And my Shakeology showed up a couple days ago, so you know, I've been having fudge and all this Shakeology stuff. So and I put on 3 pounds of muscle in the last 7 weeks since I've been vegan, so I think I'm doing okay. And I think this vegan thing is for me. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not for you. But what I discussed with my client today, who's been having the stomach issues, is Bree, what you said to me. I told her, well, you know, because her doctor, same thing, she's been getting the runaround, and I'm like, nobody has mentioned your nutrition. You know, they're trying to put her on medication, but they're not even asking her, like, what she's eating. These days, the first thing I ask is, like, how much wheat are you eating? I try to identify how inflammatory somebody's diet is, because so many times it's the case that it's just an inflammatory diet. Bree's saying that she had dinners at her house for 2 weeks, and it was all, oh, that's right. Oh, so yeah, Bree had gluten-free dinners at my house. She's telling us for 2 weeks. We were blessed with her presence, and because of this is why I'm a Beachbody coach, because Bree came and stayed with us. And this is another thing, like, every time I'm looking for answers, like, kind of like in a big way, like, hi, I need my life to change in a huge way. Here comes little Miss Bree W. I accidentally threw one of my mallets. It's like, play me, they want the music, they came for the music. But now you're getting a gluten talk, because this is what was meant to happen. I'm so vascular right now because I just ate a bunch of fruit. I just had this fruit smoothie, and so all the sugar's like in my veins right now from having done yoga for my 3-week yoga retreat. So now my client, she's going to cut out gluten. It's not going to be a bad thing. Worst case scenario, she's going to learn how easy it is to cut out gluten, and she's going to have a nice flat tummy and maybe some vascularity too. Best case scenario, she's going to identify what's been essentially ruining her life for, sounds to me like, the last few years. So that would be cool, and we're going to get her on the vegan Shakeology, because that's got the enzymes, the probiotics, the digestive enzymes. I was telling one of my clients, I drink in my Shakeology cup, I fill it about 3/4 of the way with almond milk, and then about the rest of the way with ice cold water, and then just one scoop of my Shakeology, and that is my breakfast, and it keeps me full. It's got everything that I need as far as like probiotic digestive enzymes, because I'm going to have a sensitive tummy for life because of all of this. Like, my stomach was never meant for all the stuff that I had been putting into it. So I'm always watching for the inflammatory diet. That's why I keep the sugar low. That's why I'm vegan, because it makes me happiest. It gives me the energy to come out here and do this shit. You know what I mean? And share myself with you guys, because I like who I am. I like that I'm eating what is working for me. I find that this is my best fuel. I work out twice a day now because on this vegan diet, because I'm like eating all day, and I have the time because I'm working from home now, and I'm aware that I'm not always going to have the time to be doing this, so I'm enjoying it now, preparing myself for the next step in my life, you know. And so I want to help you guys with the next step in yours, and hopefully this food for thought, this gluten-free food for thought. Maybe it'll help one of you guys too. Are you experiencing a lot of sort of like unexplained bloat? And a lot of the pains a lot of times are in the left side because your stomach hangs to the left. I used to always like to lay on my left side when I was having these stomach aches, and it would always happen after lunch, the lunch full of saltines. And the stomach hangs to the left side, so when you lay on your left side, it's going to decompress your abdominal organs. It's going to create room for the stomach. If this is happening with you in your life, and maybe this might be a change that you might want to try. If you've been going to the doctor with digestive issues, you know, bowel issues for a while, and you haven't been able to identify what you think the issue is with, you know, like Western medicine, hit me up about your diet and we'll talk about what you're eating that might be inflammatory, because there's so much of it out there and you don't know. You're not educated in this. I am. So that's why I'm here. Bree was here for me, and you came to the show today to hear the tunes, and I got to thank you, and I'm going to thank you on behalf of my client, because I have a feeling this is actually the answer for her, just based on what I was asking her as far as like, okay, when is this flaring up? What have you been eating like around the time that it flares up? I think it's either gluten or dairy or both. So, and like I told her, worst case scenario, you know, it is this, and I think that's best case scenario. We figured out that this is what it is, and yeah, you know, you might have to change your diet a little bit, but maybe you needed that push to do so, because I know that I did when I found out that gluten was the problem that was causing me, you know, it's holding me back in everything, in athletics, and my social life, and my loving myself, and getting, you know, the aesthetic that I wanted. So I'm so glad you showed up today, Bree, because I wanted to play some healing tones for everybody, some tones of encouragement for everybody in the yoga class. I love that everybody's sending me the videos. Thank you to all of my friends who are sharing my videos and who are enjoying. And thank you to Jenny. She's our newest member of our yoga retreat, and she's also saying that laying to the left promotes slower stomach emptying. How interesting. Let me see, I'm ready, so your food can break up. Oh, if you lay to the right, your food drops into past the sphincter. Our resident nurse, Jenny. So always good to have a nurse on your team, because, okay, thank you so much for the comment, Jenny. Please read Jenny's comment about why we want to lay to the stomach when we have tummy aches. Hopefully, if you guys are ready to make this change in your life, and like I was telling my client, my transition to veganism was about 10 to 8 years long. So I was first exposed to veganism by my older sister Jennifer when she became vegan. And so I knew what it was all about. I knew what the advantages were. And then I just started to kind of get these signs from the universe, if you will, that like this was not, you know, I didn't want to be eating meat anymore. I just didn't want to. I was hearing too much about the process. I was hearing too much to ignore. I was hearing so much that I didn't even want to hear it. I was like, okay, I'll stop eating meat. Like, that's how I felt, you know, and it happened, you know, first I dropped the red meat, and then I went to, you know, just chicken, everything else. I dropped the chicken and the turkey, honestly, because it started to just not be appealing to me anymore, no matter what I put on it. And the smell I didn't really like all that much anymore, and so then I was pescatarian, and it just kind of trickled down from there. All of a sudden I didn't want eggs anymore, and the last thing I gave up was fish. And I gave up the dairy, and just the other night I made some cashew cheese, vegan cheese, and nachos, and Joe ate the whole plate. So he's definitely a carnivore, and he likes his nachos, and so it was good enough for a carnivore, and it was definitely good enough for me because I enjoyed it. So I'm going to be making videos about that one. The cats are bored. They're over. They left. That was the whole reason for this setup. But in any case, so yeah, just like I said, literal food for thought. It has worked for me. Dropping the gluten got me out of misery, and then going vegan is just helping me get to my wishes fulfilled life. It's giving me the energy that I need to, and sort of like the wherewithal not to cover your mouth when you're talking to a camera and scratch your face. It's making me connect to my authentic self again. It's just where I wanted to be, and I didn't even know it. So if you're having discomfort, if you are feeling like you're not reaching your goals, and you feel like you're being held back by pain or inflammation, if you feel like it has to do with your body or the self, I always say, how's your diet? Check your nutrition. And if you want to talk about it further, message me. And thanks again to Bree and Jen. You guys are amazing. I love you so, so, so much. Play you out with some